The biggest battle that we will ever have to face is the battle between you and you. It's the battle of taking your mind to that limit and then breaking through. On the Mindful Experiment podcast, we will be interviewing individuals who have done that, who have gone through the struggles, who have tried to create a reality and all that they could. And when all the odds were against them, they made the impossible possible. I'm your host, Dr. Vic Manzo, and I want to thank you for being on the podcast and taking this journey with me as we go through and discover different avenues to break through those limits, different avenues to help you expand your reality so that you can evolve into the person that you desire to be. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey guys, and welcome to the show. This is Dr. Vic, and you are listening to the Mindful Experiment. Excited to have you here. We're doing an exclusive, another episode. We're going to be doing these for the next probably couple weeks as we go over my book. We're going to be talking about different chapters. You get a little bit of deeper insight. If you read the book already, awesome. This will be great for you. If you haven't, check it out. We have it on Amazon. It's on Kindle. It's on Nook. It's on Barnes & Noble. A lot of online retailers. If you want to get an autographed copy, get 10% off and free shipping within the 48 continuous states. You can do so at empoweryourreality.com. One of the cool things we're also going to be doing is if you have Kindle, definitely buy the book between June 6th to the 13th as we're doing a big flash sale. Instead of $9.99, it's going to be $4.99, and we're only doing this once. So definitely take advantage of it. The book's awesome. You can check it out on the website at empoweryourreality.com. Hear more of me talk about it via video and also some text I have in there on the website. So check that out. Today we're going to be talking about focus. It's in the chapter 2. I talked about focusing on source energy is the title of it. And one of the cool things about focus is it's everything that you do in your life. Focus is the essential to your reality. It's the creation of everything you experience in this life. Whatever you focus on, you manifest and attract. Wherever focus, they always say, wherever attention goes, energy grows, right? And wherever energy grows, manifestation glows. And I use that word glow just to rhyme, but the key thing is that anytime you put a focus onto something, you're putting energy, you're putting your source energy towards that. And wherever source energy goes, it starts to manifest and create attraction towards you. So you start to pull these things into your reality. And so this is why focus, and I made this chapter, and then throughout my whole entire book, I re-emphasize back into this chapter because everything in your life is based on what you focus on. If you're looking at your life right now and you're looking at things and saying, you know, some areas of my life are going well, some other areas of my life, they're all right. You know, I'm not there. Well, what happens is most of the time, the areas in your life that are just not there or not being where you expect, usually is because you're focusing on the lack. You've had some challenges come your way, and in those challenges, it either had you help you to grow and take on and figure out new ways and avenues, or you allowed those challenges to set you back because it was your desire, your focus was more on, your focus was shifted in some shape or form. And so you have to just shift focus if that's the case. Shift focus on what it is you desire, and as long as you keep your focus there, man, everything's going to happen for you. It's just a matter of time. It's a universal law. So it's one of those things. You know, as I state right in my book, right in the second chapter, I always put a quote on the chapter, and it says, always remember your focus determines your reality. I love this. This is by George Lucas, and one of the beautiful statements, it really sums up the whole entire chapter, is that your focus, it does determine your reality, guys. And so if your reality is not where you want, you got to shift focus. Once you shift focus, everything starts to lead towards that, right? You know, and here's the example. You can have an event happen to two people, and it can be a catastrophic event. One person is going to go ahead and look at that and be like, oh my God, that was the most devastating thing ever. I cannot move forward in my life from that. I can't believe this happened to me. Why, God? Why this? Why that? Okay. The other person looks and says, okay, this happened to me for a reason. I'm going to go ahead and focus on what I can learn from this and how it's going to teach me, how it's going to help me grow and shift and change my life to become for the better. Now, they're both the same event, nothing different, only nothing happened differently in that event. But the way they perceived it and what they focused on and what they wanted, the perception they wanted to focus on is what changed their reality. I've been listening to a lot of Inky Johnson. If you don't know his story, check him out on Facebook or YouTube and stuff. He's one of the best motivational speakers out there, and he has a really powerful story. And for most people, his story would have probably have not allowed people to move forward. I won't take his thunder away. You can definitely check him out. But he talks a lot about, as a football player, he wanted to be an NFL professional football player since he was 7 years old. And he trained all the time, did everything right, did all that he could. And when he finally had the opportunity, he knew in 10 games, that's all it was left, he was told that he would be in the NFL. He just had to finish his 10 games in college. Game number 2, he went for a tackle. And he tore his brachial plexus. It's the nerves that come off the neck that control the arm. And he was no longer able to play football anymore. Now, for most people, that have been so catastrophic, especially if you put 13, 14 years of dedication into something, and it'd be taken away from you with one move, one attack, one happening, it kind of puts it in perspective to be like, wow, this is going to be hard to bounce back from. But he did it, and he actually took that as a lesson. He grew from that, and now he's one of the top motivational speakers out there. So check out his story, really powerful. Eventually, I will interview him on this podcast. But it's one of those things, and it's all about where your focus is. It's where your focus allows to be. And when you put focus into things, you're putting your source energy into it, guys. And that source energy is you. It's your essence. It's your soul. In chiropractic, we call it the innate intelligence. It's the life force within you. It's what gives your body life. You are source energy. You are God, as I talked about in chapter 1. You are a creator. You are creating things on the physical front of physical thought. And so when it comes to your life, you always have to focus on what it is you desire to do. A lot of times in people, when we look at focus, it's all about, one of the things that's the biggest thing I talk about in the book in chapter 2 is that we talk a lot about having, right? You hear people always say, if I just have this, then I'll be here. If I just have this, then I'll be there. If I just had this, I'll be there. If I just this much money, I'd be over here. If I had this much here, I would be happy, and I'd be this and that. And then it's like, if I had this, then I would do this, and then I'd become this person. And the sad story of that is, it's a principle that is so backwards, because you're doing something. It's like telling you 1 + 1 is 2, and you're going, okay, 2 + 1 is 1. All right, that works. It just doesn't work that way. It's an invalid principle that you're never going to achieve what you desire, because you're always focusing on what you don't have. That's the thing. You're not focusing on what it is, because you have to look at your lack in order to understand what it is you want. And so when you're like, man, when I have $1 million, I'll be able to do these things in my life and be the person I want to become. And you're just, what it is your focus is strictly on the lack, and it's not truly on what you want. But in order to attract what you have to be the person you want to become first. I always say, I was taught at a young age at about 9 years ago, I was told, don't focus on becoming a millionaire. Focus on the person who you have to become and what life's going to mold you to become that millionaire. Because once you become an attractor to making millions, all of a sudden, no matter what happens to you in your life, you will always end up having millions. In the book, I talk a little bit about how, there was a study done, and it talks about how when you put your focus and your vibration and attraction, you can give all the money in the world, split it up evenly to everybody. Within a couple of years or two, the money will all be back in the same hands because of the vibrational force, what they focus on. So if you shift your mindset and shift your focus, you can totally transform your life. You just have to shift your focus. What are you giving energy to? Focus is the baseline to attraction. Focus is the foundation to creating the life you desire. Because let's face it, you have 40, 50,000 thoughts that fly through your head every single day. But yet the mind can only focus on truly 40 to 50. It's a limited perspective, right? But here's the thing. Those 40 or 50, you have a choice. Those 40 or 50, you get to choose. And whatever you choose with those thoughts are going to create an emotion. And from those emotions, it's going to start creating that energy, that vibration, to create the attraction of whatever it is you're putting it towards. So at the end of the day, this is why you're the creator of your life. As I talk about in chapter 1, you are the creator. You are a universe expanding. You are a mini universe, in other words, in your own world. And you are creating all aspects on a physical life where you're at right now as a human being. You are creating, and you are creating whatever your experiences are. So you have the choice and the opportunity to choose whatever it is, and the key comes from what you focus on. In the book, I shared a little bit of a story. It's not my story whatsoever. It comes from an old Cherokee legend. And I'll read through this real quick. An old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. He states, "A fight is going on inside of me," he said to the boy. "It's a terrible fight, and it's between two wolves. One is evil. He is angry, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego." He continued, "The other is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside of you and inside every other person too." The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather which wolf would win. The old Cherokee simply replied, "The one you feed." You see, guys, you have this battle in you every single day. The biggest battle that you're ever going to have to face in your life is the battle between you and you. That is the battle of the century. It's the battle of the millennia. It's the battle of the human existence. It's always going to be the battle between you and you. And the thing is, whatever you focus on is going to manifest and grow more of. So when you focus on something negative, you're creating more negativity in your life, attracting that in. When you start to focus on positive, you start to shift gears and attract more of that into your life. You see, it's all about that. And I'll share some with you guys that I've been actually going through. And it's been a wake-up call because I've gone back to this before and I thought I had it down. But life gets in the way and pulls you away. And you just have to recenter, regroup, and go back and go deeper into things. My life, I've always learned that, what you focus on is what you attract. And there's something called the reality factor. And there's something called what you can make be. Just because where you're at in life now doesn't mean that's what you're going to be in the future. And I started to realize how I was creating resistance in my life. I was blocking things that I wanted to achieve because I would see things I wanted and I wanted to desire to experience. And so I would focus on those things. But then I would say, oh, yeah, I would love to do this. But right now I just can't, financially or this or that. Here's the limits. And I'm like, I'll get there. I'll make it happen. But what happened was I had to say that other statement. Why did I do that? It's like starting a sprint. And you're going to run, 100 meters, and about 30, 40 meters, you stop. And then you got to restart again. And then you stop. And you got to restart again. And then you stop. And the thing is, you start to limit. You're not gaining momentum and really pushing and blowing through and creating what you desire. And a lot of people do that. They think of things, and I've talked to a lot of people about this too, and they'll talk about, I can't do this right now. I can't afford this. I can't afford that. And I'm always like, stop that. Don't say those things. In your life, when you want to focus on something, focus on it, make it happen. Focus on what you desire and just keep focusing on that, and that's it. Don't allow for any other script to come in. As kids, we look at things, and when we want something, we want it. Some people say, oh, you're crazy, and they're like, this is what I want. It's going to happen. Because they understand the power of the laws of the universe, and they understand how they work. They don't say, oh, well, I would love to have this, but I know I can't because I don't have money, I don't have a job, or my parents don't have enough money, or whatever. No, they want to make it happen. When I was a kid, we didn't come from money. I had a blue-collar family I come from, and so one of the things is, I remember I wanted the Super Nintendo, and that cost about $100. That was a lot of money for my parents back then, and I remember that my mom said, I just can't afford it, and I said, don't worry, Mom, I'm going to get the money one way or another. I'll figure it out, and I'll make it happen. And it took me I think it was about 6 months, just getting a little money here and there, and I saved it. I was saving, and I'm like, I'm getting this Super Nintendo. And I remember, I'll never forget, I had $125. The system cost like 90-something bucks plus tax. And I remember I was so excited. I knew it was going to happen. Every little bit I had, $20 here, $10 came here. I would put it together. And then, it could be from birthday money. It could have just been from somebody giving me $5, or $1, my grandparents, whatever it was. I would just take the money and I would just put it to just saving it. And it was about 6-7 months. And I remember with the extra little money, I got so happy because I bought the Super Nintendo and I was able to buy one game with it. And I went home and I had this one game and I played it so much. And then I started saving money to get a couple other ones. And I think I had like only 4 or 5 games, but those were the games I played. My friends would come over on a Friday and we would play. And it was a lot of fun. And I just took so much pride in it. And I loved it. But I manifested that. And I didn't say to myself, well, my parents can't afford this, so we won't have this. My parents can't afford this, or I can't afford this, so it won't happen. I focused on what I want, and I said the story is going to be I'm getting that, and that's it. I don't know how, no way, but it's going to happen. I'm going to make the way, right? If you don't know the way, you make it. If there's no path for you to get there, you make your own path to get there. And so, guys, it's all about that focus. And so that's the key concept. And when you look at your focus, as I talk about in the book here, I talk about how that the universe is always going to show you where your focus is. And that's the beauty of the universe. It gives you everything you focus on. And so if you're trying to focus to become a millionaire or be, have more happiness and joy or have a happier marriage or relationship or whatever it may be, and your relationship is not that, or your marriage or your money or whatever it is that you're focused on, you want to have happen, doesn't happen, that's the universe telling you you're not focusing right. You have a foolproof feedback system that works with you to let you know where you're at, where your mind is, where your focus has been, and how you're moving forward. How beautiful is that? How awesome is that? That you have this system in place to let you know if you're in the right place or not in the right place, if you're moving in the right direction or not. And there's other tools and tips that you can learn, and I'll be having online classes to teach and share this, is how to know when you're on the path intuitively, how to feel your soul and understand that you are on the right path. It's not something hard to understand. It's just a feeling you get. And some people think it's happiness, but really it's like this inner joy. It's like looking at a infant who's smiling. It's that brightness within them, that energy that radiates off them. It's that type of thing that you feel within yourself and know that your soul is moving in that direction and you are in the right path and you are in alignment and going with the flow of what the universe is giving to you. And that's the power of being in your own focus. And the thing is, it's just so awesome. And, there's going to be times you lose focus. Come on, guys, this is life. It's tough to stay on track 100%. It's not going to happen. We're human. But the key is to know when you're off track and then refocus and regroup and get back to where you were. And that's the power behind it. And so that's one of the huge concepts. And in the book, I talk about your power of focus. And I share, I wanted to put the FedEx logo in there, but due to legalities, I didn't know if I would have been properly right, copyright issues. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need that hassle for the book. I can just tell you guys to go to images.google.com, type in FedEx logo. And what I want you to do is take a look at the logo and tell me, can you pick out the arrow and the spoon? And when you do this, how fast that you pick that out is how quick you can focus on things. But you see, I told you, this is how the universe works. I told you what to look for, right? So you knew what to look for, and you can see where the arrow is. It's right left of the X. That's the point of it. And then it goes into the E. And then on the spoon, it's a little harder to find, but it's by the small lowercase e. And so the concept behind this is that, I'm telling you, after you see that, every time you see a FedEx, you're going to look at that arrow on that spoon. I'm telling you, I have been doing this for like 4 years now, and I just don't stop. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh, there's the spoon, there's the arrow. But the key thing is that once you know what you want to focus on, and you stay crystal clear focusing, you see how quick it is to pick up on what you want? So when you crystal clear stay focused to the universe, and the universe has that clarity, boom, it knows what to share with you and give to you. And that's why it's so important to focus. Because let's face it, your focus is designed to, what you focus on, you have to come from the mind first. You have to come from that non-physical. Everything in life of what we see in this world today all came from the non-physical. It's from the non-physical is what creates the physical. Spirit creates, you're a soul, you're a spiritual being. That's who you really are. And so with that, your spiritual being is what has created from thought to who you are now. In the Bible, it said God created all things from the Word, right? By just the Word itself, stating the Word, stating the thought. Creation came, but it had to come from non-physical first. And so you are God itself too. You follow along the same principles and lines. Now, as I stated in my last podcast, if you're just catching this one, just understand when I say you are God, God, the optimal prime creator, all that is all that is. Nothing is behind all that is. You are the potential and the fragmentation of that all that is. And all that is resides within you, so you never have lack or incompleteness of that. So you have the same power and essence of God itself. So one of the things I share about in the chapter is something about the law of karma, right? A lot of people say, oh, karma is going to do this and karma is going to do that and all these things about karma. And one of the things I wanted to share with you guys is that I wanted to really get to the truth of what karma is. It's not something that you do that's going to come back and bite you in the you-know-what if you didn't do something good. right? They always say, oh, karma's a revenge. Karma's going to get you. And it's like, hold on, wait a minute for a second. There is no such thing as karma. It's a man-made creation. To think there's this governing power that punishes you for what you do. But in all reality, what karma truly means, and I share this in the book, everything I'm sharing with you guys is in the book, is action, okay? It means the actions you have taken that have accumulated over time to where you are now is why you are where you are. And your karma of the future will be determined based on what you choose to do now and focus on now will shift your actions for the future, or your karma for the future. You see, karma is just an accumulation of choices. That's all karma is. And it's the choices you've made that led down this path to where you are now. And it's going to be the future is all dictated by the choices you make up this path right now at this moment. So that's karma in a nutshell. It's not like, oh, I did this and now it's going to come back and bite me in the butt someday later down the road. It's the choices and actions that you have made that accumulate over time that add up to where you are now. So your karma of your past is where you are right here, right now, action and thought. What you focused on in all reality. Because you have a focus, you have a thought, and you create an action. So that's the kind of thing. And I share some stories. I talk about how, I had in ninth grade, I had an algebra teacher I couldn't stand. He was so boring. I couldn't stand him. I mean, it was just aggravating. It was pain. It was like hearing chalkboard. And it was just one of those things that just drove me nuts. And I'm a math guy. I love math. And one of the things is when I was doing the math and in my math class, I remember I had like a C-, and my mom was like, "Hey, you're not doing as normally well as you normally. You're not doing as good as you normally do. I mean, you get A's in math. I don't know what's going on here." And I said, "Well, it's the teacher because he's boring, and I don't like anything about him, and he just doesn't present the material in an interesting way." And I started blaming him the whole time because my focus was there instead of me. And my mom said something very profound, and she said, "Well, how about you change your focus? How about you look at something you like about him and just put all your energy into that, nothing else?" And I was like, well, hey, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I'm going to do that and see what happens. So I tried to figure out something. He made some he helped out a troubled student one time, and they didn't understand the concepts, and they weren't doing well. And I just love how he took his time to answer, and he showed that he cared. Like, even though there was this other side I was focusing on, I saw that caring, and I was just like, you know what? He really does care. Maybe it's just the way he's not presenting it. He just can't present it in a way that's for me, but at the same token, he really does care, though, for us to succeed. And so I shifted focus and gears, and I will tell you, long story short, I kept focusing on that so much that in a few months, my grade went from a C- to an A-, and I completed the year off with an A- in math. And so I was like, man, imagine if I didn't stay. What if I stuck to the other reality? What if I did not? I kept focusing on being boring. I would have never succeeded in the class like I did. And so as I go into this, as we dive deeper into the book, there's so many different stories I share about me being husky and focusing on, being a big guy and how I had to change my mindset and all these different things. They had husky as a size back in the day, and I remember I used to be that, and it used to drive me nuts. But what I want to tie up this podcast with, end it with, is that in your life, whatever it is that you want to create, you have to make sure your focus is aligned with that. And the way that works is it's like kind of saying, hey, I want to listen to country music in Chicago. And so you have to focus and tune in to 99.5. And when you highly laser focus into 99.5, you harmonize and track whatever is available there, and that's going to be country music that you're going to listen to. Just like if you want to listen to some of the modern hits like on B96. Well, you have to tune in, focus on 96.3. And when you really focus on 96.3, that is going to attract that type of thing into your life, and you can hear that type of music. That's how life works. And that's when every time you focus on whatever it is you do, you're going to have to, it's all based on your focus. Your focus creates your reality, and it's going to be all based, your whole life is based on that. So be careful on what you focus on. Be careful on what you pay attention to. Be careful on what you give your time and energy to, because that is the things that you're focusing on that is manifesting those, attracting those things, those types of things into your life. It's the best way, is like Henry Ford said as I finish this up. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. And you are right. Whether you think you can do something or you think you can't, the only thing that comes in life, there is no right or wrong except what you believe there to be. Only you decide, and whatever you focus on, it shall be. You are the truth teller in your life. You're the one that sets the rules. As I was sharing it before, that, at the end of your day, when your life has gone and your time has come here, There's only one person that judges you, and it's you. There's nobody else out there that's going to judge you in the spiritual realms. It doesn't work that way. There's no God sitting there, Jesus, St. Peter, St. Michael, Krishna, Ganesh, Buddha. None of these people. I forgot his last name, Mandino. There's no one going to be there to judge you. Muhammad, Moses, Israel, Abraham. I can go on and on with this, guys. No one's going to be there to judge you. The only person that judges you is you. So even in your physical life, really, the only person that judges you is you. Now others can judge you, but the true essence is, what are you focusing on? If someone does judge you, how are you focusing with that? Are you really focusing on what they're saying and accepting it as truth? Or are you taking that and using it as fuel to change it? Are you going to let an event in life shift corners and break you down? Or are you going to shift focus and let that allow to teach you something and let you grow to be more? You see, because at the end of the day in life, you're going to have good days and bad days. But those good days and bad days are based on your perception, what you focus on to be good and bad. In my life, there's no such thing as bad days. There's good days and there's character building days. And those are still good days. I just have to change the name to character building because sometimes my emotions may not be aligned to be like the good days are, if that makes sense. But you see, what I focus on is if I'm happy, joyous, and pleasant, doing awesome, that's a good day. If it's what most people would say, bad day, that's just me having things being a little on the harder side, but I'm taking the lessons from it and how it's going to help me grow and challenge me to become better and become closer to what it is I want to become or what it is I desire to experience. So make sure you focus on your focus. Make sure you pay attention to what you're focusing because that is the true essence that's creating into your reality, and that's the true essence that is manifesting all. Because your focus is what dictates everything. And when you have focused on something negative or low vibration, you're going to attract low vibration and negative stuff into you. If you focus on positive or high vibration, those high vibrations is what you're going to experience. Shift your focus, you shift your life. Thank you for listening to the Mindful Experiment podcast. For past shows, please visit www.empoweryourreality.com. I hope this show inspired you and added to your life to help you rediscover who you really are, to break through those limits. For connecting with us on social media, please check us out on Facebook at www.facebook.com/empoweryourreality. You can check us out on Twitter. Our handle is Dr. Vic21. And also check us out on Instagram. It's instagram.com/Dr. Vic Manzo. And as always, if this show you found to be helpful for you, by paying it forward and sharing this podcast with someone that you know who could benefit from it. And last but not least, if you liked the podcast show, please give us a review, 5-star. We'd appreciate that. Thank you for listening to the Mindful Experiment, helping you discover your infinite potential.